Good.
Sorry, came late. I forgot. Sorry.
Down. Yes. Daqui. É.
Radharas Sudhanidhi. Yesterday we were describing the Radha Nam Mahima, the glories of Radha's holy name. And we had explained this verse 95. May the two wonderful syllables Radha that immediately attract the Lord of Gokul after even a single utterance, that makes all goals of human life seem futile when love is developed for that name, and that mark the mantra that is lovingly repeated by Lord Madhav, become manifest to me. So this verse, Prabhupada Saraswati is explaining three glorious features of this name, Radha. One is that, which we mentioned, that if one develops love or attraction for chanting Radharani's name, then Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all this will become insignificant. Tuchavat, the word he uses is tuchata. Purusharteshu spuret tuchata. Tuchata means just like that. It's put. This means tuchata. You just spit at it. Tuchata, insignificant, paltry, meaningless. We don't care anything for liberation. We just want to spend our days and nights chanting Radha, 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 Radha. I remember one time when we were doing Vrindavan Prikrama, there was one person, he was called Pago Baba. There's many Pago Babas, but he was one Pago Baba. And he was staying by the Vrindavan Prikrama near Panigat. Panigat is around the backside of Vrindavan Prikrama. There's a Murti of Lord Chaitanya under a banyan tree there now. And that's called Panigat. So he would always sit there on the side, and anytime he would come, day or night, even late at night, and do prikrama, he would simply sing there saying, Radhe, 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 Radhe. And I used to see him, and I thought, oh, he's Pagal. He's Pagal Baba. He's crazy. But I thought, that's a pretty nice way to go be crazy. It just day and night, it was just chanting Radhe Radhe. And then you didn't have to do anything because people would give him clothes and food or whatever he needed just to keep him going. To keep him with his Radhe Radhe Radhe. Just keep chanting Radhe's name. So he didn't care about anything else. He didn't care about eating or sleeping or going anywhere or doing anything. He had was no art. No art, no desirable object. He simply wanted to chant the holy name, Radharani, Radharani. Of course, he didn't really bless me, or I would have become crazy also, because I really wasn't sincere in my prayer. But when I went by, I would look at him and say, "Oh, pray! I wish I could be like that." At least I created a minor samskara for being crazy for Radharani's name. But. So it explains here in the Brahma Vaivart Purana how Krishna, if he simply hears the syllable Ra, this is in Brahma Vaivart Purana, then Krishna becomes very happy. So I guess in America, they have all these football games. And when people are playing the football, there's the teams there, the people are cheering for the football players. So they say, Ra, Ra, Ra. Ra, Ra, Ra. So they're all saying, Ra, Ra, Ra. Ra, Ra, Ra. They say to enthuse the audience in the football game. They call them cheerleaders. Leading the cheer, leading the chanting, leading the singing. You're supposed to sing for the home team and encourage them to play harder, play with more enthusiasm. If Krishna simply, if you just say Ra, then Krishna becomes happy. And then if you say Da, then Krishna runs after that person to reward him. Because Da means D-H-A, Da. So in other words, what happens is this. If someone is chanting the name Radha, 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 then Krishna becomes very happy by hearing the first syllable, Ra. Then when he hears the second syllable, he drops everything he's doing. He starts running in the direction of that person. Who is chanting the name of Radha? Who is chanting the name? Who is that? Who is that? Who is it? This is Brahma Vaivart Puran, describing how much power there is in this Nam, Radha's Nam. Of course, we have an interesting fortune because we're chanting Radharani's name, and Krishna is running to us. And we're chanting Krishna's name and Radharani is running to us. Because it's also the same for Radharani. As soon as she hears Krishna's name, then she runs in that direction. She runs there. As soon as she hears Krish, she becomes very ecstatic. And when she hears Na, then she drops everything else. Nothing else matters. Na means nothing, negative. Na, she drops everything and runs to that person. So we're chanting the Maha Mantra. We're chanting Radha's name and Krishna's name. So that means that Radharani is running to us to reward us, and Krishna is running to us to reward us, to bless us, to benefit us. So we're also fortunate to chant the Maha Mantra, because Radha's name is also there. So now there's one Leela that Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda, for Krishna's welfare, because they have a deity in their house in Nandagram, in their palace temple of Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan deity. And they have some pujaris to do the puja there. Madhamangal is also a pujari there. He does puja. And other pujaris. But Madhamangal mostly eats the Mahaprasadam. He doesn't do much puja, because usually he's with Krishna. But officially he's supposed to be doing puja, but mostly he just waits for the Mahaprasadam. And other people do the offerings. He's always on time when the Maha comes off. He's always there. So Mother Yashoda, they initiated Gopal into a Narayan mantra. Bhagavati Rishi gave him that. So in the morning, after Krishna would bathe and dress, his mother and father told him to go into the temple room and do his mantra, chant his Ishta mantra, Ishta Devata mantra. So Krishna would go and sit inside the temple room like a good boy. Then he would think to himself, because the boys, he was trying to be obedient. Before he went out and played and got into trouble, Mother Yashoda, they tried to engage him in something spiritual. Because they tried to raise their child as a religious person. Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they wanted to raise Krishna in a religious way. So they thought the day should begin with meditation on God. Because this is a tradition in India, that we begin our day by worshipping the Ishta Devatas, the Digpals and Ishta Devatas. We worship Surya, and then we worship our Griha Devata. Maybe it's Narayan or Shiva or Ram. So this is a pious religious person. So Nanda Baba was trying to raise Krishna as a pious young boy. But he was very frivolous. He would go in there and start chanting. And what would he think? He would think, Ama hoite anandita tribhuvan, amake ananda dive ache konjan. All the three worlds are ecstatic because of me. But is there anyone who can make me happy? So he would start chanting this Narayan mantra, and he'd say, oh, what is this mantra? This mantra doesn't make me happy. Only someone who has 100 times more qualities than I have can make me happy. But actually, it's impossible for anyone in the world to be more qualified than me. Only in Radha can I experience that. So what happens is that when Krishna is in the temple room, and he's in Narayan's temple room, he's supposed to be chanting Narayan's mantra. He brings his pet parrot in there. He has a pet parrot, Shukshma and Vichakshana, or Daksha and Vichakshana. And he says, listen parrot, you repeat after me. Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. So the parrot starts chanting Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. And when he's chanting Dhara, 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 then Krishna is combining Dhara, Dhara to be Radha, Radha, Radha. So then Krishna is sitting inside the temple room like this. He has some cloth, he puts some cloth over and he keeps his hand like this. And he's supposed to be chanting his Narayan mantra. So his mother comes in to see if he's chanting Narayan mantra. She looks, he's sitting there. And then he's big smiles on his face. And he's chanting his Narayan mantra. That's what she thinks, Mother Yashoda, because his hand's like this. But in the corner, in the golden cage, is this parrot, Daksha. And he's chanting Dhara, 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 Dhara. And Krishna is just relishing, because Dhara is the two syllables Radha are there. So he's saying Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. And after a while, because he's a parrot, he doesn't have a very big brain. He has what they call bird brain. And it's very small. So he's saying Dhara, Dhara, Dhara. Then he forgets to say Dhara, and he starts saying Radha, 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 Radha. So then Krishna's sitting there, yes, Radha, 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 Radha. So in this way, Krishna starts his day off on the right note. So this is a perfect note. These are the perfect notes to start the day off. So he begins his day not meditating on his Ishtadev mantra, not meditating on Narayan, but meditating on Radha. So on that note, we'll close this class, and tomorrow we'll have another class. Any questions or comments? Radha Rani Ki Jai. Now, Radharasa Sudhanidhi class. We're discussing Radharasa Sudhanidhi, Nam, Rup, Gun, and Leela of Srimati Radharani. Yeah, there's too much beautiful. I can't really appreciate this beauty of the Sanskrit because I'm ignorant of Sanskrit. But the phrases and lines are certainly very beautiful, and the conceptions. I have some dim appreciation of the conceptions. So we were discussing about the name of Srimati Radharani. Yesterday we were discussing verse 95. how Krishna himself is so much attracted to Radharani's name that when he goes into the temple room at Nandagan to chant his Ishta mantra, Narayan mantra, which his father had initiated into by Bhaguri Rishi, he sits there in a temple room very straight and moving his fingers under a cloth. But he's made an arrangement, Krishna has made an arrangement, and perched in the corner of the room is a parrot. And Krishna has trained that parrot to chant 2 syllables, Da and Ra. So the parrot chants Da and Ra, and after some time he forgets to chant Da and Ra, and he starts chanting Radha, 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 Radha. And Krishna really relishing his chanting of Narayan mantra, because all he's doing is listening to the parrot chant Radha, Radha, Radha. So, and then we heard how Mahaprabhu, some excerpt from Adi Lila, chapter 4, where he's saying, who in this world can make me happy? Is there anyone who can make me happy? And then he's saying, only Radha can make me happy. And then that's why that but Krishna is always chanting Radha's name. So then is explained that the last part of this verse 95, Prabhupada Saraswati, he's saying like this, he's saying, Adbhutam spuratu me radeti varnadvayam. Radeti varnadvayam. Adbhuta spurato. Adbhuta spurti means amazing vision, or amazing revelation, or wonderful revelation. And this is a prayer of Prabhupada Saraswati. May this radeti dvara varnadvayam, means these 2 syllables, varna means syllable, may these 2 syllables, Radha, become manifest to me. And if they become manifest to me and manifest to my heart, that will be the most wonderful thing that could ever happen to me. That these 2 syllables would take shelter in my heart. Because my heart is a very dirty place, and not a very nice place. But he's praying for this. So this is one part of the verse. He's describing 3 aspects in this verse, how Krishna himself is absorbed in chanting this name, and how this name is so powerful, Radha's name, Radha, that if one hears this name and accepts this name with devotion, then he loses all his interest in anything else. Name, fame, gain, dharma, art, kam, moksha, anything. And then he concludes his prayer by saying, O Radha, O name of Radha, oh, will these 2 syllables, Radeti Varnadvayam, Adbhutam Spurato, will they become manifest in me? This is my prayer. So we can also have the same prayer. Let the wonderful holy name of Radha be manifest in my tongue. So this is how the holy name comes. It comes on its own. Just like bhakti. There's nothing we can do to create bhakti. Bhakti comes from bhakti. Only bhakti can generate bhakti. So we can chant, and we can try to chant some type of namaparad or namabas, but the pure name of Krishna or Radha or Gauranga must become manifest to us. So this verse is quoted here, Atak Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Graimindraya Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swayam Eva Spurat Yada. This is a famous verse. It says that we serve Krishna beginning with the tongue, Sevan Mukhe Jiva. Jiva means tongue, or Jibya. Jiva or Jibya. Sevan Mukhe. We do that service, and then, because this Krishna, this Atak Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Indraya, by our Indriya Gram means, like Gram means village, means group. Our senses, we cannot catch this name. We cannot catch the name of Krishna. Tak Sri Krishna Namadi. Krishna's name cannot be perceived by the material senses or the material mind. It cannot be captured. It cannot be held. It cannot be understood. It cannot be perceived. Krishna's holy name can only be perceived by spiritualized senses. Spiritual senses. As Prabhupada uses the term, spiritualized. This means senses, Indriya, which are surcharged with Sharanagati and Seva. Indriya, which are surcharged with Krishna Sharanagati and Krishna Seva. with surrender to Krishna, and those senses are surrendered to Krishna, and those senses are fully engaged in Krishna's service. Those are called spiritualized senses. And with such spiritualized senses, then Krishna will agree to Swayam Eva Spuratira. That Swayam, that original Krishna himself, Swa, himself, Krishna Sri Bhagavan Swayam, he will give the spurti. He will manifest. Yes, here I am. Here I am. And that's what Prabhupada said is Krishna dancing on the tongue. So this is Krishna, he's experiencing that, Radharani's name, that when he chants Radha's name, then Radharani manifests. And there's different pastimes like that. So this is what Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada Saraswati, he's praying like that. And that should not be our prayer, because he's Tunga Vidyasaki. He's Tunga Vidyasaki, so he's always with Radharani. He's expanded from Radharani's body. He's Kaya Vyuha of Radharani. He's one of the Ashtasakis. There's no question of him being ever separated from Radharani. There's no question of him ever being not manifest to Radharani, or not manifest before Radharani, or having Radharani not manifest within him or before him. But for our benefit, he's praying Adbhutam Spurato. We have so many visions, we see so many things, but they're not very wonderful, or Adbhutam. Adbhutam means what? Amazing? What does it mean? Adbhut. Spectacular? What's Chamatkar then?
Chamatkar is
surprising.
Chamatkar is
Wonderful surprise.
out of the ordinary.
Magical. So the word that he's using is adbhuta. So this means spectacular, stupendous.
Out of the way, it's like adbhuta means something not ordinary. It's extraordinary.
Extraordinary. It's, I guess, beyond the bhutas. Adbhuta. Bhuta means the elements, not the bhuts, the bhutas. The bhutas are Mahapanchabhuta. Bhumi, Apol, Nalova, earth, water, fire, they're called Panchabhut. Panchabhut, the elements. So it's Adbhuta, it's beyond all the elements. It means it's beyond the material world, right? Extraterrestrial. Transcendental. So this is the kind of vision, because we have so many visions, but this is transcendental vision. Transcendental manifestation. When Radharani comes and takes shelter in our heart. Radharani Vishram. Govinda Vishram. For the Krishna Bhakta, they have Krishna Govinda Vishram. The Madhvacharyas, they worship Udapi Krishna. Bina Radha. Without Radharani. There's no Radharani there. In their puja and their meditation, and that's the Madhva Sampradaya. They worship Sri Krishna and Vaikuntha Bhav. Vaikuntha Bhav. But in our Sampradaya, we don't want Govinda Vishram, we want Radha Vishram. Vishram means resting. We want Radharani to rest in our heart. And that's the whole idea of living in Vrindavan. The idea of living in Vrindavan is to live with Radharani. Radhavas is Radhaniketan. Radhaniketan, Radhavas, Radhabhavan. Radhanivas means to be very much with Radha, with her name, with her form, with her qualities. And what to speak of Radhakund? Radhakund is the personal nivas of Radharani. No one else, this is her nivas. It's not Sridham's nivas. It's not Vrishabhanu's nivas. It's not Anangamandri, well, it's Anangamandri's nivas. But it's not Kirtida's nivas. And it's not Mukarai's nivas. Mukarai is her grandmother, her mother's mother. She lives that away. She lives that away in Mukarai. So it is only her place. So we want someday to have that Adbhuta Spurato. We pray for that. Let that name be manifest in my heart. Let that name appear in my heart. This is the inner prayer of a Raganuga sadhak. A Raganuga sadhak. Someone on the level of Vaidhi sadhana, they don't know much who they are, and where they're going, or what they're doing. What they have, they're doing something in the name of devotion, and they're going somewhere in the name of devotion. And they have some idea by the mercy of Guru, but very clear conception. They're in what's called Brahm. Sadhana Sadhya Brahm means illusion or confusion. Illusion, confusion, delusion, doubt about the sadhana and practice, and about the sadhya. What is the goal? Is the goal Nrsinga Loka? Is the goal Ram Loka? Is the goal Ayodhya? What is the goal? Parangati. So text 96. This is following this verse 95. Kalindi tatakunja mandira gato yogindravad yatpada jyotir dhyana parasada japatiyam premashu purno hari kenap yadbhutamulasad rati rasanandena sammohita Saradeti sadaridi spuratu me vidya para dvakshara. Again, he's asking for spuratu. Radeti sadaridi spuratu me vidya para dvakshara. Vidya para. So this first line, he's saying, Saraswati Thakur is saying, Kalindi tata kunja mandira, gato yogindravat yatpada. So this is very nice. On the banks of Kalindi tata, kunja mandira, in a kunja mandir, mandir means temple, a love temple. A kunj mandir. Gato yog, that means that Gato means the Yogendra, he has gone there. That Krishna has gone on the banks of the Yamuna. He has entered into one kunja mandir, into one very confidential, private kunja, like cottage, flower cottage. And he's waiting there. For whom? Radha. He's waiting for Radha. So the translation. May the two supremely astonishing, blissful, rasik, erotic and enchanting syllables of Radha. There's quite a few adjectives there. Supremely astonishing, blissful, because the words are there. Adbhutam ulasad rati rasanandena samohita. Enchanting. Samohita means completely bewildered. Mo means bewildered, confused. Samohita means completely, absolutely. So these are the adjectives. These are the adjectives which Prabhupada Saraswati uses to describe Radha's Naam. Adbhutam ulasad rati rasa ananda samohita. Supremely astonishing. So they're translating Adbhuta as astonishing. Astonishing, blissful, rasik, full of ras, erotic and enchanting syllables, Radha. May these syllables that fulfill all desires, that are uttered by Sri Hari while he sits in a bower house or Kunja Mandir on the bank of the Yamuna as the king of yogis, meditating on the effulgence of her lotus feet with eyes filled with tears of love, always be manifest in my heart. So here he's glorifying Radha's name, but he's also indicating a lila. Because in the previous verse he's saying that Krishna is praying for this name, and now he's showing what a lila, illustrating how Krishna has gone to a lonely place in the bank of the Yamuna, and he's mentioned here as Yogendra, as the greatest of yogis. So why is that? Because he's doing the topmost meditation. He's meditating on the lotus feet, and his eyes are filled with tears of love. It says, Jyotir dhyana para sada japati yam premashu purnahari. So prema ashu, his eyes are full of premashu, tears of love, and he's sada japati. He's doing his jap. Krishna is doing his japa. You're doing japa in your kunja kutir. In your kutir, you're doing your jap in your apartment, in your flat. And Krishna has also gone into the kunja mandir to do his jap. So what name does he chant? Does he chant Hare Krishna mantra? Radha Nam. Radha. So there's a nice pastime. Why the pastime here illustrates why Prabhupada Saraswati is choosing to call Krishna Yogendra, the king of mystic yogis. So there's the Leela is described here that when Srimati arrives at the meeting place, she sees that Shyamasundar has not yet arrived, and she becomes very upset. The Manjaris understand Radharani's condition, so they go out to search for Shyam. But the forest is so dark, Krishna couldn't find the meeting place. He couldn't find it. It's called Sanket Kunj. It means the appointed place. Sanket means appointed, or designated, or assigned. That we decided beforehand that we'll meet in such and such a place. But there were no maps there. Krishna didn't have a road map of Vrindavan. And sometimes there's lots of monsoon rain, so too many trees and underbrush grow up, so he gets lost. The footpaths get covered up. So he couldn't find the place. So he entered another kunj. So one Manjari came there and found Shyam, and he was meditating on Radharani's toenails. Somehow, by the mercy of Radharani, the Manjari understood what was going on in Shyam's mind. In other words, you read my mind. We have this phrase in English, oh, you read my mind. So the Manjaris, it starts there. Everything starts there. The Manjaris are expert at reading Radha's mind. And the Manjaris are expert at reading Krishna's mind. Otherwise, how can they make arrangements? Because one of their sevas is to bring the lover and the beloved, the Nagar and the Nagari, together. The Nayak and Nayaka. They have to bring them together. So in order to bring them together, they have to know their moods and feelings. So they have to know their minds. So, the Manjari was thinking, or this is actually, she tuned in to Krishna's thinking, and this is what Krishna was thinking. Aha! How can my tender Radhika come to over this forest path, which is so dark, all by herself? How is it possible? It's so dark, and tonight is Amavasya. And how will Radharani find her way? There are no street lights, there's no flashlights, there's no torches, no Jivan Satis, ever-readies. How will she find? Then he's thinking, oh, here's the way. The effulgence from her toenails, the Jyoti Naka, which is mentioned in the verse, that brilliant light from her toenails, that will illuminate the forest floor. And using that will be her torch. Her toenails will be her torch. Naka torch. Nak torch. Her toenail torch. And she will find a way. Apara siddhi vriddhi digdha satpadangali nake kadakrishi simam kripa katakshapajanam. Apara siddhi vriddhi digdha satpadangali. From Radharani's Angali, unlimited mystic perfections emanate. And all the Devis, they wait in line just to beg a drop of that perfection from Radharani's feet. So, he's thinking, oh yes, in this way she'll find her way. But, as soon as Rasaraj starts meditating on the effulgence of Radharani's feet, he becomes absorbed in the sweetness and enters into samadhi like a great yogi. That's why Prabodhananda Saraswati describes him as Yogindra. Yogindra means the king of yogis, Yogi Raj. Yogi Raj Sri Krishna ki. Jai. So he is absorbed in the topmost mystic meditation. What is the topmost mystic meditation? To meditate on the toenails of Radharani. The effulgence, not even the toenails, just the effulgence from her toenails, and to chant Radha, 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 Radha. Right? So he's doing like this. Just as great yogis sit in a solitary mountain cave to meditate on the supreme Brahman, the light of the Brahmajyoti, Krishna, who is the supreme Brahman himself, is meditating on the effulgent toenails of Srimati Radhika. That sometimes people ask the question, oh, you say that God is the source of everything, He's created everything, He's the Sarvakarna, Karna, Mishra, Parama, Krishna, and God is, well, who's the source of God? They say, who created God? When the buck stops there, that's the meaning of God, the supreme being, the absolute. There's nothing behind Him, no one behind Him. So in the same way, we can ask the question, oh, the yogis are meditating on the supreme Brahman, but who is the supreme Brahman meditating on? So the yogis can't answer. because they don't have the Goswami grunts. They have their own grunts. Their own grunts, but not the Goswami grunts. So they're grunting and moaning and doing their yoga. But these grunts are telling us that the Supreme Brahman is meditating on another Brahman, Radha Brahman. That's a higher Brahman. There's Para Brahman, but then there's Para Brahman. The Para Brahman is Radha's toenails, the Jyoti Naka from Radharani's toenails. This is the astounding glories of Srimati Radharani. He who which all the greatest yogis throughout all time are meditating on his Jyoti, the Brahma Jyoti, desiring this Nirvishesh or what is it called? Nirvikalp Brahman. They want to meditate and absorb themselves. Then if someone was to inquire from the yogis, oh, you're meditating in the Para Brahman. But do you know that Para Brahman is also meditating? Acha? Really? Yes. You are also a yogi and you're sitting in this cave in the Himalayas meditating in Devprayag, in Joshimat. Do you know that down south of here, on the banks of the Yamuna, Kalindera Tate Kutira Mandire, that on the banks of Yamuna there's also another yogi. He's a blue yogi, Nila yogi. He's blue. And he's also meditating in a very confidential, dark place inside the Kunja Mandir. No light can come there, no starlight, no moonlight, no sunlight. It's totally dark, like your cave here in Joshimat. Acha? And that Brahman Jyoti you're meditating on, he's there. He's sitting in that Kunja Mandir. And he's also meditating. That Para Brahman, he's meditating. Acha? Do you know what he's meditating on? I can't. Do tell. He is meditating on the effulgence of Radharani's lotus feet. The Para Brahman is meditating on the Naka Jyoti, the toenail, the light of her toenails. How do you like that? Really? Let me see. Let me go down to Vrindavan and check this out. So then the yogi gives up his bogus yoga and comes down and starts chanting Hare Krishna on the banks of the Jamuna. Hey Radhe Vrajadevi Keja Lalite Hey Nanda Sunakuta Goshantavati Sarvato Vrajapore Kedar Mahavivalo. He becomes totally vivalo, becomes totally overwhelmed. So that's why he's called Yogendra. Although the greatest mystic yogis want to attain liberation by meditating on Krishna's bodily luster, Krishna himself meditates on the effulgence of Radhika's lotus feet to become liberated from what? The yogis want to become liberated from material existence, janma mrityu jaya vyadi. They want moksha prapti, mukti prapti, and they meditate on this Brahman. Om, Om, Om. They're to attain liberation. They're chanting and meditating. But what's Krishna want liberation from?
Pain of separation.
His lusty desires. Let's put it in simple English. There's nothing but lusty desires. Transcendental lust for Srimati Radharani. So he's burning in a fire of separation from Radharani, and he wants to be with her and hold her and have her and dance with her and receive her association and service as his beloved consort. But he's separated. So this is his way of getting free, getting liberated. So while he's meditating on the beautiful shining light from Radharani's beautiful lotus feet, Krishna repeatedly mutters her sweet holy name, Radha, 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 while the hairs on his body stand on end in ecstasy, and a stream of tears flows from his eyes. What a scene. Beautiful scene. This is called chanting at the level of prem. Prem Nam Sankirtan. Golo Kara Prema Dan Hari Nam Sankirtan. Golo Kara Prema Dan Radha Nam Sankirtan. So Krishna is chanting Radha Nam, and it's coming from Golok, full of prem, Goloka prem. And he's having sattvic vikara, transformations Romancha Kampa Ashru. So now, to conclude, this pastime has to end somewhere. So the Manjari is watching all this, and then she runs away. And she goes and meets Swamini, Radhika, in another kunj. And she says, "Oh, your Nagar, he's waiting for you, and he's crying for you, and he's meditating on you, and he's simply repeating your name over and over again. Radha, 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 Radha." "Oh, really? Take me there immediately. Let's go. Jao Saki. Jaunge." So then they run. She holds Radharani's hand and they run together. Skipping, jumping, running, flying down the footpath. Right to where Krishna's sitting. When Radharani sees Yogiraj Krishna immersed in meditation on her, she becomes submerged in the ecstasy of Rasananda, and her hair stands on end. With a sweet voice, Radharani Sangini, her Manjari, she whispers, "Oh Yogiraj, open your eyes and look. The treasure of your sadhana has come before you. Be blessed with the fruits of your sadhana. The powerful name of Radha has attracted the deity of Radha to come here personally. And the lotus feet you have meditated on have now come before you and are standing right next to you. Bless your eyes by beholding their sweetness directly." Hearing the Manjari's statement, the king of yogis, Yogendra Krishna, slowly opened his eyes as he came out of his deep trance of samadhi. And when he saw the deity before him, the very deity of his meditation, he saw standing in front of him, Sakshat Radha, then he became overwhelmed with ecstasy. He was relishing that sweetness. So then, this is being seen by Rati Manjari, Prabodhananda Saraswati. But when he loses that spurti, when he loses that meditation, that samadhi of this beautiful pastime, then he speaks in this verse, this last line, "Vidyate sarva kampatis tasmat vidya paramata." He says that this is paravidya. He explains in this verse 96. He says paravidya, vidya para, saraditi sadahridi spuratu me vidya para dvayakshara. That these two syllables, Radha, this is paravidya. This is the topmost understanding, the topmost knowledge, paravidya. So why is it paravidya? Because he's praying that these two syllables, paravidya, Radha, will be manifest in my heart. Because Radharani, she is the person who can fulfill all desires. That is why she's called paravidya. Because knowledge itself gives us the power to fulfill our desires. Think about it. If you have knowledge, you can fulfill your desires. Without knowledge, you can't do anything, even materially. If you have a desire to do something, you have to have knowledge to accomplish it. So here, this is called paravidya, the topmost transcendental knowledge. So that's why it's defined. The word paravidya means, this is defined here, vidyate sarva kampatis tasmat vidya paramata. That this is the characteristic of paravidya. When one has this type of knowledge, which is pure spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, when we possess spiritual knowledge or transcendental knowledge, that can sarva kam. Kam means desire. That can fulfill all our desires. Because ultimately the desire of the Atma is only one. All become one. When the soul enters the body, the one becomes many. But when the soul becomes self-realized, the many become one. Because when the soul is mixed with the material body, we have unlimited millions of desires. What is it? Bahushaka yanantascha. Bahushaka yanantascha, Krishna says in Gita. Vishaya vinivartante niharasya dehana. Rasu varsopyasya. Is that the verse? No, Bahushaka. No. Anyway, there's one verse like this. Bahushaka. It has unlimited branches, unlimited desires. But when that soul becomes liberated, becomes self-realized, then all those many, many desires become one. Because originally the soul has one desire. And so when we attain transcendental knowledge, we'll fulfill all our desires, because our desire is only one. How to please Krishna. How to love Krishna. This is the one and only desire. The one becomes many and the many become one. The one desire of the pure soul becomes many when it's mixed up with the material body. Many, unlimited. This and that and this and that. And it never ends, and we never find satisfaction, and we keep desiring more and more and more, and never find an end and never find satisfaction. But when we see that this course that I'm taking, this road I'm taking, will only lead to frustration and repeated birth and death, and doesn't really give satisfaction, then we walk the path of spiritual life. And then the desires start going one by one, going. Nadana janana sundaram kaviram bhaja grishakame mama janmani janmani shvaya bhavatad bhakti hoiti kridai. And we only want devotion, service. That's it. I only want service, bas, nothing more. This is one desire. So the many become boiled down into one. One piece of burfi. 100 liters of milk. Boil it down to one fat piece of burfi. So all the material desires get boiled off. Cheto dharvana marjanam. They all get burned off, boiled off, wiped off, marjan, cleansed from the chitta. And then the original bhakti kam, original desire of bhakti arises from the pure soul. So this is what Paravidya means. So he's saying that these two syllables, they're Paravidya. Because these two syllables are Paravidya because they can fulfill all desires, sarvakamp. This is from definition. By the power of the japa of Radhika's holy names and meditation on our lotus feet, Shama Sundar has attained his long-desired goddess. So this is the conclusion of this verse number 96, is that Krishna, he chanted with tear-filled eyes in a lonely place, and his meditation was fixed on his Ishtadev. In his case, his Ishtadev was Srimati Radharani. And he fixed his mind, he wasn't inattentive, he wasn't thinking about lunchtime or what work he had to do or buying new clothes or the baby or anything. He was only thinking about Radharani. His Ishtadev was fixed, he was in a lonely place, on the bank of the Yamuna in Vrindavan, and he was meditating and he was chanting his japa, Nam japa. Then he got spurato, adbhuta spurato. He got the wonderful vision of his deity, of his mantra devata. It's called mantra devata. And the mantra devata for his mantra is Radharani. She came there personally. The mantra brought Radharani into that kunj to show Krishna. And Krishna is so happy. So the same thing can happen to us. We're sitting in our house, we're sitting in our apartment, our kunj, our kutir, whatever, and we're chanting. And someday, if we can fix our meditation and properly chant, then the deity, mantra devata, the deity of our mantra will also come to our kutir and come to us and manifest himself, as he manifested himself to Narada Muni one time, to Dhruva Maharaj, to Prahlad Maharaj. He comes right to your house, right to the pillar. He comes out of the pillar. Here I am. Ah! Ooh, Haribo.
Haribo.
So he can come out of your pillar, out of your marble floor, out of your door, anywhere he can come. This is Krishna's freedom. He's free to act in any way. So we'll stop there. Any questions or comments?
Because of this yogamaya potency that all this is covered, or
yeah. The question is that we read that descriptions of the spiritual world that everything is self-luminous. Everything is self-luminous. Everything emits light. The trees emit light. The ground emits light. The people emit light. They're all emitting light. And this is a fact. It is a world of light. It is a world of pure knowledge. There is no darkness there. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakara. Wherever is the Krishna sun, Krishna Surya, Krishna is like the sun. Wherever the sun shines, there's no darkness. When the sun rises in the day, there's no darkness. Krishna Sura Sama, Maya Andakara. Maya, illusion, the absence of Krishna is all darkness. It's all dark. We need light from outside. If the light doesn't come from outside, we're in the darkness. If the sun doesn't rise, it's always dark. But in the spiritual world, they don't depend on sunlight or moonlight for electricity. For light, electricity for light. In fact, they're conspicuous by their absence, it's told. In the spiritual world, there's no need for sunlight, moonlight, electricity. However, because all variety originates there, there's also a spiritual sun, there's also a spiritual moon, and spiritual stars that are making up the firmament of the skyline over Braj, or Goloka Vrindavan. And due to the desire of the Lord to experience variety and different flavors in variety, as our Guru Maharaj often said, that variety is the mother of enjoyment. The more variety, the more enjoyment. If you have a meal with just rice, it's okay, something. But there's rice and sabji, that's nice. And rice and sabji and pakora, and more variety, more pleasure. So the spiritual world is full of pleasure. It says there's no time there. There's no time factor. And it says everything's effulgent. But here we find nighttime. How can there be nighttime if everything's daytime? So as you mentioned, Krishna's Swarup Shakti, his for the pleasure of Krishna. If he wants night, it becomes night. It becomes night in the day. If he wants spring and it's winter, it becomes spring. If he wants summer and it's fall, it becomes summer. Whatever season he wants, whatever condition he wants, Yogamaya arranges for that. So the ground is usually luminous, self-luminous. When nighttime comes, it's night. It becomes very dark, like the ground here. Just like Boma Vrindavan. If we go out in Amavasya, we can't see anything. We can't see anything on Amavasya. Dark moon. But for Krishna's Leela, everything is adjusted like this by Yogamaya.
Also when he's sitting and meditating, actually Vrindavan, this Vrindavan, it's a desire-fulfilling place. So if he is just sitting once, Radharani to come, she can just be there.
Yes.
She makes arrangement for Manjari to bring her there.
Yeah. That all these things can happen, and that you're saying that this is the Aishvarya concept of Vrindavan, that every tree can fulfill every desire, every piece of ground can fulfill every desire. So simply you sit anywhere and desire anything and it'll happen. That's what you're saying. And of course that can happen that way, and it does happen that way sometimes also in the Madhurya Leela of Radha and Krishna. The gopis are bathing Radha and Krishna, and then they're desiring, Radharani's clothes are wet, it'd be nice if we had some nice dry clothes. And then the tree drops off a few saris. A few saris drop off the tree. The Kalpavriksha tree produces on the spot exactly the right sari, the right size even. She doesn't have to take it to the tailor and go and get a special choli made to match. And get all the darting done and all this other stuff. It's already pre-sewn and pre-made and everything. It falls right off the tree, ready to fit.
So
But that's the Aishvarya aspect. All this omnipotency, all this Aishvarya aspect is there. But Braj, the sweetness is such that the Aishvarya withdraws to the background. The Aishvarya is in the background. It's there, but it withdraws to the background in the presence of the sweetness of Braj. So therefore the Madhurya aspect of Braj is so strong and so intense that it's playing in the background of the Aishvarya. So basically everything is pretty much human-like. It's Nara Leela. Here and there it's also Nara Leela. Although time to time the Aishvarya asserts itself according to the will of the Lord, but mostly it seems that they have to do some endeavor. They have to walk and bring the manjari here, because this creates ras. Aishvarya is not much ras in Aishvarya. When everything happens on automatic pilot and it's all programmed by computers and happens, there's not much taste there, not much flavor there, much ras. So in the Madhurya aspect, it's unexpected. There's the expectancy or the surprise element. What's going to happen? Will Krishna meet Radharani or will he not? Because if it's all automatic, that you simply desire, then she'll be there. He simply sits there and desires and she appears. But then there's no playing hard to get, and there's no man, and the leelas become very simplified then, and become very much mechanical. But in this sweet aspect, we never know what's going to happen next. That's why Krishna's quality is Vidagdha. Not Vidagdha, but said he's, in the first verse of the Bhagavatam, it says he's Sarvagya, he's all-knowing, and he's Vimugdha, he's also bewildered.
And a question can I ask?
Yeah.
See, if you are in those pastimes, you know that you are acting like that Krishna is not supreme and not full of power, so you are adjusted in those leelas. Now what's happening next, you go. But when we are sitting here, we know all this, that, and we read it, then actually we know Krishna is full of power, everything is happening by His grace and everything, so this is only leelas that we are leading. So there's not so much, what to say, we are not into it because we are not in that place, so we are just reading it.
Yeah, that's a fact. And we're reading these leelas from our position as sadhakas. And these leelas are purifying us. And as I mentioned the other day, they're painting our hearts. You dip a paintbrush in a can of paint and you paint the wall. The walls of our heart are getting painted by these prem-filled leelas. And the black walls are eventually being replaced by a white undercoat. Then the undercoat of white or primer coat is eventually covered by beautiful colors, multicolors of rasa and bhav, as we advance in bhakti. But so it always has benefit to read these pastimes and think about these pastimes. But to actually enter those pastimes, then we have to come under the influence of Yogamaya. And Yogamaya begins to influence the sadhaka at the level of prema. And to some extent, at the higher level of bhava, Yogamaya influences the sadhaka, so he forgets the godhood of Krishna. He becomes Madhurya Mai, becomes absorbed and covered with and drenched with Madhurya, sweetness. So he can't see that, he can't find the Aishvarya. Only then, when he enters the Leela and Leela Pravesh and his Siddhadeha and does Manasi Seva, when there's times of separation, when Radha and Krishna are separated, then sometimes the background, which I mentioned, the Aishvarya aspect of Braj in the background asserts itself and creates a sense of, oh, he's God, or he's even Paramatma. So they even remember these things in times of separation. Sometimes the Aishvarya, but most of the time Aishvarya is in the background, and Yogamaya is enabling everyone just to forget everything, and he's my little Lala, and he's my lover, and he's lost, and we have to find him. And we will ourselves, as we become advanced, Yogamaya will also take us by the hand and link us. It's a maya, it's an energy which links our heart and our mind with the heart of Krishna. That's why it's called Yogamaya, because it's spiritual. Now our hearts and mind are linked with Mahamaya. So Mahamaya is the material energy, the external energy of forgetfulness and separation. We're forgetting Krishna, we're separate from Krishna. So Mahamaya covers us with this illusion.
Yogamaya is Purnamasi.
Yogamaya is Purnamasi. That's one of her forms, Purnamasi.
We can pray to her to influence us.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely we pray to Purnamasi, we worship Purnamasi. And they have a deity of her in Rupa Sanatana Mandir of Purnamasi. And she is prayed to. The Goswamis wrote the prayers to Purnamasi, and we pray to Purnamasi because everything is personal. All energy is personal. Behind every energy there's a person. You're a person, you have energy. You have creative energy and you have destructive energy. You can take a bat and break all the windows in your house. That's destructive energy. Or you have creative energy, you can make a painting or you can make something. You can build a house with your creative energy. And you can destroy it with your destructive energy. Take some dynamite, throw it in there, boom, blow it up. That dynamite is Anantashesh when it gets angry. He starts spitting out dynamite from his eyes. Or you can maintain the house by your hard work. So we have maintenance energy, Palana Shakti. We have Shristi Shakti. We have Pralaya Shakti. We have all those Shaktis within us to a minute degree. But we're persons. So God is the supreme, unlimited person. He has Parasya Shakti Vividaya Shriyate Subhavaki Gana Balakriyacha. He has unlimited energies and powers. Shri Radha Rasura Nidhi Ki Jai. Radha Sudanidhi. This is verse 97. We covered verse 95, 96, 97. And these verses are just still describing the glories of Radhika's Nam. Technically it says Radha Nam Mahima, the wonderful glories of the name of Radha. So Saraswati Pad, he's telling here, Devanam Matta Bhakta Mukta Suridam Adyanta Duram Chayat Premananda Rasam Maha Sukhakaram Chocharitam Premata Premna Karanyate Chapatyata Muda Gayat Yata Lishvayam Japat Yashumuko Haristad Amritam Radeti Me Jivanam. He's saying Me Jivanam Amritam Radeti Me Jivanam. Amritam Radeti Me Jivanam. That jalpa, when Krishna does japa of this name, then it is like his life and soul. A translation. The nectarian name of Radha that is rarely attained even by the demigods, the regular devotees. Interesting, regular devotees. I wonder what you're using for. That's just bhakta. It says bhakta. Translating bhakta as regular devotees. In other words, the devanam, the bhakta, and the mukta. So the muktas are liberated souls, or the regular bhaktas, or the devas. This name they can rarely attain, even by the demigods, the regular devotees, the liberated souls, and Krishna's friends. There's also Suridam. That is listened to and lovingly repeated even by Lord Hari, is loudly sung by Hari to her girlfriends, and described by him with tear-filled eyes. That is the very form of Prem, Ras, and Ananda. That holy name is my very life. So in this case, this is the autobiography of Tungavidya Sakhi, or Prabhupada Saraswati. He's telling that he's saying this is me jivanam. He says, this is my life. This is my Prem, my Ras, my Ananda. And he's telling how much Krishna is involved with this name. That Krishna is so much involved with Radharani's name. He's always listening to it. He's always lovingly repeating it. And he's always hearing it from Radharani's girlfriends. And they also and then he describes it when Krishna describes Radharani's name. He describes Radharani's name. His eyes are full of tears. That's quite a good japa, the holy name. So here, the point is being made that it's not so easy to attain the nectar of chanting Radharani's holy name. Demigods can't attain it, regular devotees. No one can attain it. They can't taste the nectar. So that point is made here, because it mentions about friends. So this commentary is telling there's nothing more delicious, because the word nectar is there, amrit, in the verse. There's nothing more delicious in this world than nectar. And sometimes we have in the Sunday feast, we have some type of nectar drinks. We call them nectar drinks. And I remember there was one in so-called nectar, whatever. I don't really know if that classifies as amrit, but certainly they were delicious drinks by our standard of deliciousness, a frame of reference. And the Sunday feast, they would make a drink with orange juice and buttermilk. This was a kind of concoction of Jayananda, but it was called I don't know what it was called. Orange juice, nectar. It was just called nectar. The Sunday feast nectar drink. I think it was buttermilk. Is that right? You ever had?
Yeah, must be lemon with the whey and.
I don't know what it was, but I believe it was. We bought this some kind of Karmi buttermilk that you can buy in the market, and they bought this frozen orange juice, and then they would blend them in this and blend it all up, and it would mix. And what did I say? Buttermilk, or maybe milk. I'm not sure. Milk or buttermilk. Milk and orange juice, or buttermilk and orange juice. I think it was buttermilk, because buttermilk's already curdled. It's already curdled. Has anyone ever had it? It was all across America. That was a standard Sunday feast nectar drink. And then some other maybe spices were put in it too, and it would homogenize. It would mix together, and it would taste really good. I don't know the percentage. I don't know how much orange juice. I never made it. But it was really out of this world. People would drink cup after cup after cup after, because it was sweet. They add a lot of sugar to it also, obviously. Lots of sugar. That's a big thing of this content. Well, there's lots of sugar. So everyone would get obviously intoxicated from the sugar content and the sourness of it all. But it was, so this is nectar. So this name, Saraswati Pad is saying that even the demigods who enjoy the nectar of heaven, they can't experience the nectar of Radha's name, because they're too much intoxicated with material enjoyment in their celestial abodes. And those muktavadis that desire liberation, they worship God from Shanta viewpoint, awe and reverence, like Dhruva, Prahlad, and Ambarish. They can't taste the sweet nectar of Radharani's name. Only those who worship Radha and Krishna in the sweet mood of Braj, they can appreciate the nectar. Now there's some, Narada Muni is receiving some instruction from Lord Shiva. Brahmadinam Maharadyam Durata Sevate Suraha Tamradikam Yo Bhajate Devarshe Tam Bhajemahi. O Devarshi Narad, I worship those who worship Shri Radhika, who is served from a distance by the demigods, and who is most worshipable for Brahma and others. So Lord Shiva is worshipping Radhika. So much, this verse is just supporting the idea that how far the demigods, even Brahma, is far from Radharani. And then Saraswati is saying that he's saying the regular devotees, he uses the term bhakta, devanam bhakta mukta. So the word bhakta here, when he's saying regular devotees, it means devotees in Shantaras. And he mentions them. And he mentioned this Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and Ambarish Maharaj. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj, he's mixed Karma Mishra Bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj is Gyan Mishra Bhakti, but he's considered to be Shuddha Bhakti, but he's a Gyani, Jnana Bhakta. And now he explains, and then he says, so that's the Bhaktas, that class of devotees. We're also endeavoring to become Bhaktas. Well, it doesn't exclude us. We're not excluded from tasting the nectar of Radharani's name. Then he says Suridam. So this is a more curious statement. He said even the friends of Krishna are excluded from the nectar of Radharani's name. And that's very strange. Because there's 5 types of sakhas, and one's called a Priyanarma Sakha. And Priyanarma Sakha is like Subal and Sridham. And they actually take part in Krishna's Madhurya Leela with Radharani in the Kunjas of Radhakund and other places. They're very much intimate with that. But it's saying here, now which Suridam does this refer to? Which friends? Krishna's coward boyfriends like Mandali Bhadra, Subhadra, and Vijay are far removed from the nectar of Radha's holy name. So the word Suridam means friends here. When he's saying the friends are removed, it doesn't mean all the friends. Only the friends who are like Priya Sakhas, or they're not the Priyanarmas. Only Krishna's most intimate friends, which are known as Priyanarma Sakhas, like Subal and Madhamangal and Sridham, are slightly aware of Radhika's glories. So this is how much rare the whole name of Radharani, the nectar of Radharani's name is. There's another translation of this verse, because this translation is by Advaita Das, and Dasra Sutta. He also he translated the verses from this Radharasa Sudhanidhi, and some of his translations are quite interesting, very nice. So in this verse he says, this 97th verse, the rarely achieved nectar of Sri Radha Nam. That which remains very, very far away from the demigods, from his own devotees, from the liberated, and from his closest associates. That which is the liquid ras of Premananda, and gives the maximum divine pleasure when chanted with tender, loving affection. TLA, I guess. tender loving affection. That which is heard by Lord Hari with great fondness and chanted privately by him and sung by him amongst the gopis in great happiness. So here, a slightly different viewpoint of the translation. Sung by him to her girlfriends. It's the same. So Krishna, sometimes he meets with the other gopis in separation from Radharani, and he starts singing the glories of Radharani. And what does he sing? Hamaradhanha Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha, Hamaradhanha Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha, Radhe 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 Radhe, Premadana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha, Premadana, Hamaradhana. My wealth, Hamaradhana, my wealth is Radha. And sometimes Krishna can be found stuttering and babbling this name of Radha, his face dripping wet with tears. He can be heard, he can be found stuttering and babbling this name with his face dripping wet with tears. That ambrosial elixir, Radha, is my life and soul. So this is his translation. It's quite poetic. He's quite a master with English language, Dasara Sutta Prabhu. And he's saying that this is the elixir, the Jivanam, the life of the life, the Amrit Jivanam. This is Saraswati Pad's conclusion. His holy name is so sweet. And one other point, he's saying that there's a nice Leela here about how Krishna, only offenseless chanting can grant Krishna prem. And there's Leela is being revealed here about Krishna chanting Radharani's name. And as we were hearing, one devotee was asking that she's chanting and chanting, but no results are coming, or sometimes withheld by Krishna's plan. There's also, Krishna faces the same problem. Krishna is also doing his japa. He's also chanting Nam Jap and desirous of some profound results. And in his case, he wants to have Sakshat Darshan of his Ishtadevi Radharani. He wants to have Radha Milan, to meet with Radharani. So one day, Krishna was sitting in a kunj waiting for Radharani to arrive. Radharani comes there, and she wants to witness and test the depth of Krishna's love for her. So instead of entering the kunj, she goes to another nearby arbor and hides herself there. Arbor means like kunj or bower. Then some of the Sakhis go inside the kunj and say, "Oh, Sham, Haribo." And then Sham says, "Oh, where's Swamini? Where's Radharani?" And so then to play with him, then they say, Krishna says, "Where's Priyaji?" "Oh, Sham Sundar, her superiors have forbidden her to leave the house today." They really play with him like a doll, the manjaris. And then he says, "Oh, really? But how is it that I smell the sweet fragrance of Radhika's body lingering on your person? Tell me the truth. She must be hiding in some nearby grove just to make fun of me." "Oh, Sham, we're always associating with Radhika, so naturally our clothes are carrying Radhika's fragrance. We'll tell you the truth. Today she really couldn't come along with us." Hearing this, Krishna becomes very upset. "How can I meet her?" "Listen," the Sakhis say, "stay here for some time, and you just fix your mind on her honey-sweet names and start chanting. And I'm sure that if you chant nicely, Radharani will be attracted to your chanting and she will personally come here." So on the advice of the Sakhis, Sham began his Radha Jap He was chanting for a long time, but nothing was happening. There was no results coming. So he went to one class on art of chanting. And he asked the teacher, why are no results coming? So the Sakhis, after some time, they came in the kunj. Oh, Sham, what are you doing? He said, listen, I followed your advice. I've been chanting for a long time now. I've been trying to avoid the 10 offenses and chant sincerely with full attention. But still, your Sakhi hasn't come. Oh, Sakhis say. Actually, along with your chanting, you should also do some hearing. Now listen, we will chant the holy name of Radha, and you listen. Premna akarna yet ayate. You hear the Prem Nam. So then the Sakhis started chanting Radha's name. And Sham was listening with great attention and great love. Radhe 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 Radhe. So, Sakhis, I've listened now to you chanting the holy name of Radha, but still, I don't see Radha here. Then one Sakhi jokingly replies, look, Shamsundar, I think that you're committing offenses to the holy name. That's why you don't get any result. Have you perchance gone to Chandravali?
Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai Hari Govinda Jai Jai Govinda Jai Gopala Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai Radhamana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Govinda Krishna Bhutara Bhutara Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami Krishna Bhutara Krishna Bhutara Bhutara Bhakti Dhira Swami Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram
This is Saturday. Pico,
Today's Moini's birthday. And I'm
Happy Christmas.
thank you so much.
Celebrate. Be great.
yeah.
You like eating?
No.
You like pizza? Like eating?
I like eating but leave some of the crystals accommodate much. Just small. Small at a time. Like it.
Wish you all the best in Christmas. Very good. Very good. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Delicious. Prasad. Thank you. We are going for Guru Puja and Damodara second and Guru Vardhan Leela. From Nanda Vrindavan, Chanpu, then for Gopal Chanpu and other places.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
See you later.
Krishna, Shri Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.